We are pouring the metallic dot dolly flower that was created by resin art by Lillian. Lillian Stryker is the creator. I believe she is from Germany. I will link the course in the description. If you want to take the course, you have to obviously sign up and pay for it. It's actually a pretty neat course. Lillian did a good job with presenting the information. The resin I'm using today is Art Pro by Resin Pro. I used all acrylic inks except for the Silver Night by Lorez Expressions, which is an aluminum. So it's a metal, not an actual mica powder. And then the mica powder I chose was Namari Gray by Eye Candy. So the first step is I poured the aqua. The second step, I poured the violet, which I poured the violet in the middle, and then I did just an outer ring around. Now I mixed up a small amount of the Silver Night, which is an aluminum. It's like ground up aluminum. It adds a really nice sheen, and I only wanted that on the edges. And then here in a minute, you'll actually see me drop magenta, another acrylic ink, on top of the silver. And you only want that magenta just to go around the edge. It's not going to be enough to come to the middle, but it's just enough to add into all the little crevices there in the outer ring of that particular mold. The white I used on this project was Pouring Your Heart Out's Bloom Paste. And I'm going to be piping the dots. You'll see here in a minute. You pipe the dots around similar to a fairy flower. And I actually do that prior to me pouring the magenta on top of the silver in that outer ring. Just getting rid of some bubbles. And I tried doing the dots with a pipette, but I actually found I personally have better control over the dots in the piping bag. I feel like I get more of a consistent pressure on the bag, so my dots are similar in size, which I think that's kind of important because it helps add some, not 100% symmetry to your inner petals, but you should get similar like height and width on them, which I actually think in this particular technique, that's what makes it interesting, is the center, the actual center of the flower, and how it contrasts with that outer edge. It just looks really, really cool and pretty together. And you'll do 2 layers of dots. Lillian chose dots, but I changed mine a little bit, and I decided to make my white on the second round. I did 2 rows of the W's that you'll see here in a minute that are similar to the dragon flower, and then I just dotted like the inner rim after this one. So that's the Eye Candy, the Namari Gray. And you're going to do 2 color pushes on this one. The first one you're going to do is a color push with mica powder. And that's actually, I'm mixing up the magenta, which I talked about previously, that you're going to pour just on that outer circle. Hopefully, this is actually, the magenta is going to be the smallest amount you have in this recipe. So you should definitely have enough to go around 1 time, if not 2 times, maybe 3, depending on how much you do and how much you want in there. It's just a really thin layer. Again, it just seeps into the little crevices in that particular mold on the outer ring. And that's the mica powder, Eye Candy, Namari Gray. Again, you do 2 color pushes. That's the first push. That's a pretty large quantity that you'll make up, because that's the one that's you're going to want it to go out to the sides, nearly out to the sides of the mold, and then it will come back in, and when it comes back in, that's where you get the pattern from. And this is where I'm using the technique that's also used in the dragon flower, piping the W's, and I do this 2 times around, and I'm hoping that this makes a good pillowy like petal on the outer edge. And I chose to do this instead of the dots because I feel I get more pillow-like petals on the edge if I do this rather than doing dots, especially on after that mica powder push, because you're not going to push out to the edge again with the other amount. And this is the second layer of dots, which I'm just going to take to the outer edge of the last round of the W's, and then with anything that I have left over, I'm just going to put dots in the middle of the W's, which you'll see here in just a second. And this pour is complicated, not really complicated to pour it, but in the fact that it has numerous steps that you have to do. You have to make up multiple cups of resin. And actually, Callie from Callie's in the Kitchen helped me out with this. She gave me a tip that to pour on the second push, to pour a new batch. I guess this helps facilitate the inner petal design that really makes up the crux of the metallic dot flower. I was doing it before with the same resin, and I wasn't getting the effect that I wanted, but she helped me and gave me that pointer, which right there I mixed up a new batch just only for that the second push, which isn't as much as the first one. It's probably I'm going to guess maybe half of what I did initially on the first push with the mica powder, because this one you're only going to want to take it out probably to where that row of white is between like the magenta, the white, and the purple. You're only going to want to take it to that outer edge of the white and the purple, which you'll see here in this push. I kind of poured it a little bit crooked, but you can see at least where it poured to, because it's not going to go all the way to the edge. And I really struggled with this technique. It's probably, gosh, took me all last week. I did multiple pours on it. I think this might have been my 10th or my 11th pour. And it took me that long to figure it out to where I got the result that I wanted. So this one I struggled with quite a bit, but I ran out of Art Pro. I'm hoping I can get some more in this week to do it again. There's the final result. Good luck, you guys. This one's hard, so happy pouring. Would love to see your results. Take care.